Hello and welcome. This is the introduction video to the SPHEIR Pedagogical Training 1.0, what we're calling Pedagogical Training 1.0. So a series of videos that we're going to explore different kinds of things related to pedagogy, teaching, learning, and those kinds of things. So to introduce myself, my name is Walt Hurley. I'm a professor emeritus at the University of Illinois. My home department's been the Department of Animal Sciences. We're in Urbana-Champaign. I'll show you in a bit kind of where that is relative to other things in this country. I've been teaching students, particularly undergraduates or students at the bachelor's degree level, for over 35 years in a variety of different kinds of courses and what you would call modules. My colleague, the other person you're going to see in some of these videos, is Bolin. Her title is Senior Specialist in Education. She is in the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning at our university on our campus. This is a very large group of people who provide support of all sorts of things for teaching and learning, online kinds of things, resources. The people who are doing these videos, in fact, are part of what we call CITL, Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning. Jilan, her specialty is working with faculty to enhance their teaching. She does many kinds of workshops of all sorts, and she works individually with faculty, many faculty, to, again, enhance their teaching. And so you'll be seeing her in some of the videos here in a little bit. Now, just to hopefully help you understand that we have a little bit of credibility in terms of talking to you, those of you in Sierra Leone. We've both been to Sierra Leone and provided some workshops. Jilan has only been able to come once. This is a picture at Nanjala University where they're working with some faculty. This is me probably in Freetown at the Family Kingdom, providing a workshop for some of the pedagogical trainings when we were able to come over there and work with faculty face-to-face. So I've been there 3 times. So again, we understand, at least to a minimal level, some of the challenges that you face. The other thing I will point out, one of those challenges that we recognize is technology. And so we've tried to keep the kinds of things we're doing relatively low-tech, things that you can take back to your classrooms at your universities and hopefully integrate into what you're doing in those classrooms. You're going to notice some differences in the way we approach this. You'll see me, as you see me now, moving around, moving my hands around. And so whatever I'm talking about is going to be up here in the corner, and I'm going to be pointing at things. Jilan, on the other hand, has taken a slightly different approach. She's actually, it's similar in the sense that she's sitting down the corner of a screen, talking. You'll be able to see her, you'll be able to see her motions, but then the information is up actually on the screen, a screen above her. So a little bit of difference in the way that she and I have approached physically doing these videos. Again, Illinois, in pretty much the center of the country. Illinois is there in red. The state of Illinois is in red, and that little white dot there represents roughly where Urbana-Champaign is. We're about a little over 5,000 miles from Freetown, where perhaps some of you are viewing these videos. Just to kind of blow this up a little bit and give you an idea, you've probably heard of this big city called Chicago in Illinois. There's a lake right up here in the corner, one of the Great Lakes. We're about 130 miles south of Chicago. So where we are and where we're actually making these videos. Okay, now, at the very beginning of the SPHEIR project, one of the things that happened, and you've been told this before, I think, from some of the other people in these workshops, is that they went out and did a survey of not only people like yourselves, faculty, different universities, but also particularly employers of your students, the people who actually hire your students, and asked them, well, what's kind of missing? And they came up with this kind of a list, and we're calling these skills gaps, and we're going to address that here more in a moment. But the idea is that these are things that when students graduate and go to a job, that they're lacking, that they really are not that skilled at. Things like writing, speaking English, teamwork, working independently, critical thinking, computer literacy, presentation skills, data collection skills, analytical skills, and so on and so forth. there are lots of words for these things. These things we're calling the skills gap. So some people have called them soft skills. Some people, you'll see here in a moment, career readiness competencies. It's a good word, competencies. Professional competencies. And we're going to try to use these two terms, one way or the other. Soft skills, let's strike that off our list because there's really nothing soft about it, are they? The ability to analyze, the ability to think critically, and those kinds of things, there's nothing soft about those. Those are important, really critical kinds of skills that our students need to both get jobs, but also then to successfully progress in those jobs and be productive for the employer. So career readiness competencies, that's one that's used in this country. It just kind of lets you know you're not necessarily alone in these skills, in the gap in these skills. This is a survey that's done in this country by this National Association of Colleges and Employers. It's done every year, although I'm just showing the 2018 data, which is, it doesn't change that much from year to year. And this survey is referred to as the employers rate the essential need of the career readiness competency. So again, getting back to that terminology. And their 5-point scale went, number 1 would be a not essential at all, to a 5, which is absolutely essential. And let's take a look at those results. Wow, look at these things. These are really highly ranked, all of these in here that I've included. Critical thinking, problem solving, number 1. Teamwork, collaboration, another one. Professionalism, work ethic. Oral, written communication, leadership, digital technology, career management, global and multicultural fluency. A very similar list to the skills gap list that your stakeholders in Sierra Leone came up with. So again, these are things that we work on all the time, that we struggle with, that we want to make sure that our students also have, they're very competent in being able to think critically, being able to solve problems, etc. Okay, now, you may be sitting there saying, well, you know, Walt, I've got all this, my content here. I work really hard to develop the class that I teach, the module that I teach, all the content in that. And here you're coming along and you're saying, well, you know, we also have to deal with these professional competencies. So you may be sitting there thinking, am I asking you, is he asking you to do double effort? No, not at all. What we need to do is we need to start the process of thinking about how do we bring these things together so that rather than being two separate things, rather than doubling the work, they're one. And what you're going to find as we go through these various videos, you're going to start recognizing that developing those professional competency skills is part of learning the content. That the way that they're learning the content is by practicing these professional competency skills. So this becomes one thing, not two separate things, not individual things. So again, this is going to take a change in mindset, and we're going to help you work your way through how to start thinking about that. Okay, what is it going to be in this series, this Pedagogical Training 1.0 video series, the introduction, which I'm doing right now. We're going to talk about learning. What is learning? You spend a lot of time thinking about your teaching. So we're going to take a step back and start thinking about what is this learning thing, and then bring that back to how does that relate to our teaching. Educational objectives and learning. So we're going to find educational objectives is very important, and then relating that to this learning process. How do you design your module or redesign your module? Something called classroom assessment techniques, or CATS, abbreviated CATS. These are activities. Think of them as that way. And we'll get into a lot of examples of those. You'll actually practice some of those in some of your activities. Informal early feedback. The idea there really quickly is rather than waiting till the end of a semester to get some feedback from students, well how did you do? How did we do in this module? How do we do in the classroom, and so on? A third of the way, half of the way through the semester, trying to give them a survey, informal survey, to get some feedback so we can make adjustments and do hopefully an even better job. Some really key tools that every module needs: syllabus and lesson plans, and then we'll do a quick review and wrap up of what we've talked about here. Our objectives, overall objectives for this series of Pedagogical Training 1.0 is at the end of this training, you will be able to describe learning as a cyclic process. I'm kind of giving the punchline away already. Learning is a cyclic process. You'll be able to describe that in several ways. Identify the components of something called Bloom's taxonomy. Some of you may have heard about that already. And apply those to your modules and designing and redesigning your modules. Apply the concepts of something called integrated design and backward design to your modules. So you can go home and start redesigning things and making getting direct value from the kinds of things you're going to learn in this training. How to integrate those classroom assessment techniques, those CATs, into your modules. How to develop an informal early feedback survey for your modules. So again, you can get that feedback early in the semester rather than at the end of the semester. And you actually will develop a draft syllabus and lesson plans for your modules. So these are our overall learning objectives. Now, an important vocabulary nuance here, important vocabulary difference between terminology you use and terminology we use. In the United States, we talk about a degree program. In Sierra Leone, you'd use a phrase more like this, a course of study, meaning for a bachelor's degree, 4 years of study. All right? We use this word course right there. You use the word module. So I teach a course, and in my case it was a course in lactation biology in our Department of Animal Sciences. What we're really talking about in all cases in these videos, regardless of what terminology we may use, is we're talking about your 15 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever it is with your students, working directly with them. Now the reason I bring this up is because every once in a while I'm going to try, and I know Chilan also tries, to use this terminology so we don't confuse you. When we talk about your module or my module. But every once in a while you're probably going to find us use this word here, course. So I'll be talking about my course in lactation biology. Well, again, in all cases what we're talking about is this time that you have directly with your students during that semester. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. Thank you.